Every winter, the White House transforms into a massive, highly coordinated logistical operation. It begins with the arrival of the official Christmas tree, an 18-foot Fraser fir delivered to the North Portico in a horse-drawn carriage. We can see the scale of this operation in this chart mapping the number of official White House trees over time. Back in 1957, the Eisenhower administration displayed 26 trees. By the 2023 season, that number reached 98 trees, filling the state floor. But behind the thousands of twinkling lights and public press statements, the executive mansion remains a private home. First families still carve out quiet moments to bake cookies in the kitchen or read stories by firelight. If you look back at the early days of the presidency, this massive public relations event didn't exist at all. Every modern administration has to figure out how to maintain those intimate family rituals while simultaneously hosting a celebration for 330 million Americans. In the early 1800s, there was no grand spectacle. George Washington spent his holidays working, conducting business as usual through Christmas Eve. When celebrations did happen, they were strictly shielded from the public eye. In 1800, John and Abigail Adams threw the first White House Christmas party, but kept the guest list limited to their young granddaughter and her friends. 3 decades later, Andrew Jackson hosted a winter frolic for his staff's families. It ended with an indoor snowball fight. To spare the formal dining room, the kids used cotton balls instead of actual snow. Even when Benjamin Harrison brought the first official Christmas tree into the White House in 1889, it wasn't placed on the state floor. It was hidden upstairs, decorated with candles and toys for his grandchildren. The first hint of modernization arrived in 1894. Just 4 years after the White House was wired for electricity, Grover Cleveland asked to have multicolored electric light bulbs added to the family tree. For an entire century, presidential holidays remained behind closed doors. The first family was not yet expected to serve as symbolic hosts for the country. The holiday physically left the confines of the White House in 1923, when Calvin Coolidge brought the celebration out to the ellipse. He illuminated a 48-foot balsam fir in Washington, creating the first national Christmas tree lighting. Through mass media, this outdoor relocation allowed Americans everywhere to experience the event. The entire country could now participate in the president's family tradition. Subsequent presidents realized the power of this connection. Herbert Hoover started sending out personalized family photos, and by 1937, Franklin Roosevelt began the practice of mailing formally designed Christmas cards to the outside world. Even when celebrating indoors, first families became highly aware their image was being projected to the nation. Gatherings around the tree became staged events. National broadcasting meant the American public was no longer standing outside the gates. The first family's holiday was now occurring in full view. By the mid-20th century, first ladies began to orchestrate the holiday as a formal public duty. Mamie Eisenhower standardized the spectacle in 1957 by placing the official White House tree in the Blue Room, a practice that continues today. In 1961, Jackie Kennedy elevated the aesthetic. Instead of standard family ornaments, she selected a Nutcracker suite theme, turning the decor into a curated public exhibition. Soon, unique traditions were created specifically for public enjoyment. The Nixon administration introduced a massive annual gingerbread house, and Gerald Ford started the custom of displaying a tree made entirely of cranberries in the Red Room. The decorations even expanded to include museum-quality fine art. In 1967, an intricate 18th-century Neapolitan crèche was permanently added to the East Room displays. By the late 20th century, these celebrations had become a massive cultural production, utilizing themes and fine art to create a specific holiday experience for a national audience. As the demographics of the country shifted, the first family's hosting duties adapted to reflect a wider array of American beliefs. A major milestone occurred in 1979, when Jimmy Carter became the first president to officially recognize the Jewish faith during the season by lighting the national menorah on the ellipse. Over the next few decades, the executive mansion incorporated more cultural touchstones. In 1993, Bill Clinton issued the first presidential Kwanzaa greeting to honor African American heritage. George W. Bush took the next step in 2001, bringing diverse traditions directly into the residence itself by hosting the first official Hanukkah party and kosher buffet for staff and their families. This expansion continues today. In 2023, Joe Biden filled the East Room with a traditional lion dance to host the White House's first ever Lunar New Year reception. The history of holidays at the White House reflects a steady broadening of the American identity. Over 2 centuries, the first family's hosting duties have evolved to include a wider range of cultural milestones, acknowledging that the executive mansion serves as a home for a diverse public.